Is there trouble with Moist? There might possibly be. Let's talk about the timeline of what has happened and why there might be trouble with the Moist roster going forward. So, Shift, a while back, maybe like a month back, like honestly, I probably should have got the specific day, but they said, hey, it's going to be Joyo and Extra, and they're going to figure out their third. So, I'll see if I can find it here real quick. But, so Shift reported that a while ago, and then around September 14th, I believe it was, or around that date, they played in the Rising Stars Odyssey tournament. They played with Drolly. It was, probably tryouts and all that stuff. And they did very well. They won that tournament. But yes, the Shift article came out September 24th. So yeah, just about a month ago, almost to the day. And so everyone's thinking, all right, it's Joyo and Extra. We talked about Rezi on the team as well, which is a very real possibility. So we thought, all right, Moist is basically locking up, maybe trying to find a new third. So maybe not trouble for Moist necessarily, but more trouble for Extra instead, because the Flip and Spin tournament is happening right now. There's 6 invited teams. Moist is one of those teams invited, yet in the first qualifier, and about to play in qualifier number 2, Extra is playing with Astral and KDOP. So not something you would expect if you were invited to the tournament, to the LAN anyway. So it looks like Extra is off of Moist, at least as of right now, and at least for this Flip and Spin Invitational tournament. There's only 2 spots that are not invite only, so Extra could still possibly make it, but he didn't make it in the first one. It was the Mediterranean boys, Reezers, Louis, and Sizen, so they will be at the tournament. Qualifier number 2 is coming up, I believe, today when this video comes out, so we'll have to look for that. They did get an automatic invite into the closed qualifier portion of this tournament, and honestly, I think that's a little suspect. Maybe that's because of KDOP's name, I guess. But it's KDOP, Astral, and Extra that they got an invite, and that's after in qualifier 1. So qualifier number 2 is actually tomorrow. So I just looked that up. Again, I should probably look up this information before I make a video, but we do it live. But in qualifier 1, I just want to go back to that. Astral, KDOP, and Extra did not do well. They were in the open qualifier portion, and they did not advance out of that. They lost to the adults, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Chippy, and Gek. So they took down one team in Sick, which was Flakes, J-Wets, and Billy. But then they did lose to the adults 2-0. Obviously, it's best of threes or whatever. But they didn't make it to the closed qualifier that had 8 teams in it. And then they get an invite to the closed qualifiers for qualifier number 2. Seems a little iffy, but it depends on who's in qualifier 2. I would rather see them take, places 2 through 5 and just invite them because they earned it from qualifier number 1. But that's just me. But yes, in that final tournament, the adults that we were just talking about, who they did lose to, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Chippy, and Gek, they did get a 3rd place finish at the very least. So it was a quality team, right? So the adults, I would think, should have probably got an invite over them, but that's just me. But this leads to who is on the squad of Moist. And obviously, we don't know for sure, but Rezi is likely on the squad, you would assume, because he didn't play in any of these qualifiers, and that's where you can kind of look of who's playing in what. Then you got Bim Bam that we talked about a little while ago that played in some tournaments. It was Cash, Astral, and Oli. Well, Astral, obviously, was playing with KDOP and Extra, so he's off the table. Cash, I believe, did not play in these tournaments either, so could he make a return back to the team? Possibly. I think it's more likely it's Oli. It doesn't look like, Cash played in any of this, but I will double check. But Oli, so I checked and he did not play in it. And it could also be just because, they were not available to play or whatever. But yeah, Cash and Oli both did not play in these open qualifiers. So it could be either one of those two. I'm suspecting it'll be Oli on the squad. It seems like Oli's been trying out for a bunch of teams. I still think he's got a lot of talent on his side. And since Cash already tried to play with Joyo, I very much doubt that they would return to it after they said that they've already dropped them. So we'll see how that all pans out. The rest of the teams in the flip and spin main event, we'll go check that out. The other player I wanted to briefly mention was a Chronic. There's a possibility it could be him. We honestly have not heard anything from a Chronic for a while, which seems a little strange to me. So we'll see how that all plays out. But the main event is coming up. It is October 27th. So it's this weekend. And the 28th, it looks like. So I think there's one more online portion, I think. And then it goes to the finals where the top 4 teams go to LAN, actually. So, like, if you did get an invite, you're not necessarily going to LAN. Yeah, so it's October 27th and 28th, supposedly. Even though, as of now, it shows there's only 4 matches. So that format might be changing on Liquipedia. But then the finals is the week after that. November 4th will be the LAN, it looks like, with just 4 teams there. Playing for about $30,000 US money for first place. Second gets about $8,000. Third and fourth also get $8,000. So it's just like, as long as you qualify, then you get some money. And then first place gets the rest. So we'll see how that all plays out. But the teams, I wanted to talk about them real quick so we know who's heading there. We have Vitality. They will be there. There's no doubt about that. Alpha, Rado, and Zen. Then you have K-Corp. The rumored roster, obviously, it's not official yet, but a lot of these announcements for these orgs will probably happen right before this tournament so they can play under the org. Maybe they'll just play under the org and not be on contract. That's a possibility as well. But if you're a player, I probably would say, hey, you should sign me before I have to play under your org. Vatira, Addo, and Rise on K-Corp. Oxygen, Archie, Ixo, and Oske. Moist, Joyo, and then who knows? We honestly don't know yet. That's the main question mark of the rosters of these invited teams. So there is an online portion again. That's coming up this weekend. So we should know either who's signing up for those squads or at least just trying out still. So we'll see with Moist based on Friday. We should know the details there of that roster. BDS, very likely Monkey Moon, Drawley, and Exotic. Magnifico got an invite after Team Liquid got bounced out because, there is no team there right now. We already talked about Addo and Oski. We haven't heard from a Chronic. So it's Atomic, Stizzy, and Tox who got an invite, so good for them. Then the Mediterranean boys, Reezers, Louis, Sizen, won qualifier number 1. So they have advanced to it. And then qualifier number 2 is tomorrow on Thursday. So it goes Thursday, you qualify, you immediately play in that playoff either Friday or Saturday. Right now it says it's Friday. I suspect that's mostly on Saturday, but I'm not really sure how they're doing it here. So there's broadcast for that. I believe it's on Johnny Boy's stream right now, the qualifier. So definitely go check that out. But there's still question marks around a couple European rosters. Not many, and most of those question marks revolve around Moist. What are they going to do? So we'll probably find out this weekend. My guess right now is Rezi and Oli, but there's been no word yet. But Extra looks like he's off the squad and looks like he's trying to find a new team. And right now, I would say it doesn't look amazing with Astral and K-Dop. That team's like, it could do some damage, but it's definitely not, a major qualifying team in my mind, at least. Who knows? Maybe K-Dop will surprise me. We'll have to see. But right now, that's who Extra is playing with in close qualifier number 2. So if you want to check that out, check it out tomorrow on Johnny Boy's stream. And yeah, that's it. So we'll see what's going on with Moist. Let me know in the comments below who you think is going to be on Moist. And does it even matter? Are they even a major team? Doesn't matter who teams up with Joyo at this point because all the other talent is already consolidated on other squads. Right now I have Moist outside the bubble for a major squad, but it depends on the roster, so we'll have to see. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you on Friday. We'll come up with something to put out. I'm not sure what we're going to do just yet, based on maybe the roster news that we're hearing today versus Friday. We might talk more about Moist or talk about some other stuff. So thank you guys for tuning in as always, and we'll see you next time.